welcoming you here today for our gentle yoga class. Thanks for joining in. We'll go ahead and start from a comfortable seat. If you like to support yourself with a cushion or a blanket of some kind, throw a pillow. Sometimes adding a little bit of support underneath the seat can help just relax the knees, help the legs kind of come into place, into being here with some reduced tension. We'll give ourselves the chance to send our gravity down into the earth, into the floor, and start to just feel our presence here within our own bodies. Giving ourselves a chance to start to add some breath here to the body, start to notice or tune in to what the breath feels like today. Maybe as we find the inhales, we notice a gentle expansion of the rib cage open, the belly can lower down, the breath can fill through the torso. Maybe noticing with the exhale, a little compression of that front body. Maybe the ribs squeeze back, maybe the diaphragm draws back up, flushing the air out of our lungs. Giving yourself just a chance to tune into what the breath feels like here. Maybe start to recognize your posture. You might add a little bit of wiggle or movement to your spine. Maybe checking kind of front and back. Maybe giving a little bit of a round or circular movement to the spine here. It helps to just notice maybe what's within you. Anything that may be stuck or stagnant, maybe rolling the shoulders back and down a little bit here if that feels good. Just giving ourselves a chance to start to draw the shoulder blades toward the spine on the back behind us. Start to allow the shoulders to drop away from the ears. Finding that place where we can stack the spine vertically, that place of perfect balance, where the curvature of the spine can support itself. And lifting up through the crown of the head, the very top of the head, like we're being drawn up to the ceiling or the sky with a golden thread. So almost like we're being lifted out of our own bodies through the head, finding that nice tall space. Maybe noticing if that changes the feeling of the breath as well as we align the posture, maybe giving ourselves more chance for a deeper breath. The body to expand into its alignment. Allowing that breath to cycle a few more times. Maybe adding that slight pressure to the back of the throat, the Ujjayi breath or the victorious breath. Maybe where the inhale and the exhale start to become like the sound of the ocean wave. If you would like today to add a little bit of grounding, we'll invite a new mudra, the Bhu Mudra, which is the first two fingers, or I sometimes call these the peace fingers, if you were to make a peace sign. You just take the arms low down toward the ground. Fingers can be a little bit separated, almost like an electrical plug, and just plugging ourselves into the earth. So just a gentle touch of the fingertips toward the ground here. You can almost even use that as a kind of a pressure point from which to rise the upper body a little bit taller, aligning the posture a little bit more. And from this place, just focusing on whatever it is you may need to give away today. The sense of grounding or the intention of grounding allows us to give back to the earth anything we no longer need to hold. Some burdens that may just be too big to bear, or something we've already maybe processed through and it's time to let it go. Allowing any excess energy to come out of us and move back into the earth. The earth providing that eternal sink. It can take from us what we no longer need, and it can give us as much energy as we need as well. Maybe giving it another breath or so here if you'd like to. Maybe with the next inhale, we release the Bhu Mudra and allow ourselves to inhale the hands up, maybe to the heart or maybe all the way up overhead. With an exhale, maybe tracing those fingertips back down. Just allowing ourselves to, as we lift the arms, maybe away from the rib cage, expand the breath a little bit deeper. Notice if you can still hear the sound of your own breath, or you can bring that sense back in. Maybe giving it 1 or 2 more breaths like this if you choose. Maybe bringing the palms together when you're ready. With the exhale, maybe drawing the hands into heart center. This is a space for gratitude. So grounding, and now gratitude. Taking time to find within us any intention that we might have for our practice today. We can enjoy a gratitude practice with intention, being grateful for the thing that we're asking for, knowing that the universe, as soon as we set that intention, is organizing itself to provide for that need, for that intention. Allowing yourself to release the prayer hands, or the kind of gratitude or Namaste Mudra when you're ready. Hands might come gently back to the lap here. And inviting ourselves to maybe move the spine a little bit. Maybe starting with cat-cow. Inhaling to open the chest and the throat forward. Exhaling to round the back, soften the spine a little bit. Allow the chin to move toward the chest. Inhaling to flow forward as you're ready. Maybe tilting the tailbone a little bit deeper back. With the exhale, maybe tilting the tailbone under along with the rest of the body. Finding the lift with the breath in. Good. Back body releases with the breath out. Feeling free to go as slow or as fast as your body needs to. Your pace doesn't have to match mine. It can be very much just what you need here. Good. And taking another breath or so if you like. Maybe 1 or 2 more rounds. As you find your way back up through a seated center, maybe allowing ourselves to move the spine laterally, starting with a deep breath in. Maybe right hands rise up here. With an exhale, maybe dropping the right hand and leaning the left hand over. Good, we can flow this with the breath as well. Inhaling, the thumbs can meet on center. Exhaling, maybe tilting the other direction. Inhaling as we move through the center again. Exhaling to lean over. Find that nice space of stretch for the side ribs. Exhaling to lean into it, other side. Good, maybe another couple of rounds on each side here if you wish. Maybe getting a little bit deeper each time, or noticing something else, bringing something else into perspective, one other muscle that you can feel. Maybe noticing the grounding support of the low body or the hand here. Good, finishing with an even number on both sides. Exhaling when you're ready, you can release those hands back to neutral. Good. From here, we'll just create a little bit of a movement. Arms can come up to cactus arms or goddess arms, as we might call them, goalposts, some people call them. Fingers spread nice and wide here, and drawing the elbows back to where maybe in the periphery of the vision they start to disappear behind us. If you want to look side to side here, you can take a gaze at each elbow. Give a little bit of stretch to the neck. Here too, you might inhale one direction and exhale the other. If you notice the arms starting to slip or lower, maybe bringing them back into alignment. Maybe you find after a few rounds you can look even further behind you, so taking whatever opening may be there. one more breath or so. If you'd like to, go ahead and draw the elbows forward. The forearms can come together. If you want to clasp the hands here, you can. And then we'll just go ahead and practice a little bit of a rise and lower of the elbows together. So noticing if we can create a little bit of stretch there along the back body, maybe engaging a few of the different muscles, adding some strength here. Maybe we inhale as we rise up and exhale as we lower down. We'll bring this in later into a little bit of eagle pose. So for now, just kind of practicing what that movement feels like. How do we create the strength to keep the forearms pressing together even as we lift and lower? Maybe one more time, one more round here. Good. When you're ready to release, arms can come maybe down by the sides. You might shake that out a little bit. Maybe even wiggle up into the elbows and the shoulders. If you want to get some of the upper body involved, feel free to bounce it, shake it, loosen it up. Getting rid of any other excess energy that might need to still escape or be let go. Kind of slow that movement down as you're feeling ready. And then we'll go ahead and invite ourselves toward hands and knees. At this time, if you like, you can bring a blanket underneath you for support or cushion. Sometimes sensitive knees require just a little bit more softness here. Similar to that, the base of the hands, if you've got carpal tunnel or wrist issue, wrist pain, feel free to fold the mat back, create a triple stack, and cushion the heels of the hands with that support. Good. So we're finding that place in table pose where the knees can be directly underneath the hips, wrists directly beneath the shoulders. We'll start into a little bit of a cat and cow tilt, starting with a deep breath in, dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone and the gaze here. With the exhale, rounding the chin under, the tailbone under, and lifting up through the back. Maybe 5 rounds or so here if you like. So maybe 4 more. Maybe bringing in that ujjayi breath or ocean wave sound. Helping you also to track where the breath is going, how it's moving, what it feels like to you. This movement can be very small and subtle. Doesn't have to be very big to be effective. Maybe taking 2 more rounds or so if you choose. One more full breath, really stretching the spine to its full extent. Maybe coming to set the hips back on heels, coming toward child's pose if that feels okay. You can always also create a little bit of cushion by adding some pillow or blanket or something behind the knees if the knees don't want to bend that far. That's an option here. And then allowing the upper body to lower down toward the legs or toward the ground here. Maybe the forehead comes to touch the mat. Maybe it doesn't. That's okay. Notice for yourself if you like more softness in the shape. Maybe relaxing through the arms and shoulders. Maybe giving softness to the jaw or the face here. Maybe releasing some mental energy if there's anything kind of stuck or spiraling in the mind as the forehead comes to connect to the ground, or if you want to stack the hands to help make that forehead connection, you can do that. That connection of forehead to ground can help us release any mental energy that maybe needs to also let go. If you want more strength in this shape or more energy, always an option to press the hands into the ground. Lengthen through the elbows, stretch into the shoulders a little. Whatever choices you're making right here, just acknowledging them, giving breath to the whole space of your body. And And giving it one more breath or so here as you choose. Full exhale. And on the next in-breath, maybe allowing yourself to roll forward through table pose and bringing it to either a cobra pose, where maybe the hips are just above the ground, arms are supporting the weight directly beneath the shoulders. Or if you need a little bit less here, you might drop down onto the forearms and give yourself a Sphinx pose. If you have that blanket support, you might draw it up underneath the hips here. So finding for yourself one way of creating this shape, you can also try a wide arm cobra, where the hands come out to the side, so it's a little bit less of a lift, but still helps you kind of create some of that stretch through the lumbar spine. Here too, you can choose to either rise out of the shoulders or even allow yourself to sink into the shoulders and be squeezing out any of the tension that might be between the shoulder blades. Sometimes even moving those shoulder blades up and down the back a little bit can help be a nice squeeze or release. And that can be true too if you're down in the Sphinx pose. You might just walk those hands forward a couple of inches so the elbows are a little in front of the shoulders. There too you can find that release space. Good. Giving it another couple of breaths here if you like. When you're ready, maybe releasing the chest all the way down to the ground here. Hands can come beneath the shoulders. Fingertips supporting the weight a little bit. Rolling the shoulders down the back and then lifting up through the heart. So this is a low cobra pose. Using the strength of the back body here, maybe pressing the bottoms of the feet into the floor to help create the lift. To say bottoms, the tops of the feet into the floor. Giving yourself that deep energizing breath here. This is a subtle shape but major cardio work. So go ahead and lean into that, breathe into it. Maybe another breath or two if you choose. Coming to release down, maybe taking the cheek to one side. Arms can just come to rest by the sides of the body. Allow yourself to fully melt into the floor right now. So taking some time for breath, maybe 5 or 6 breaths here. Allow them to be deep and long, really milking this time for rest, but also encouraging yourself to relax as deeply as possible and as quickly as possible. This helps to tone the nervous system, give ourselves that conscious relaxation, telling ourselves that we're safe, we're okay, and it's time to disengage or deactivate, feeling our safety. Maybe another couple of breaths here, maybe even softer or more relaxed. And when you feel ready, allowing yourself to bring the chin back to center, hands beneath the shoulders if you wish. Maybe coming to press up a little bit higher, roll up, maybe nice and slow back toward table pose. Again, setting the hands, fingers spread nice and wide, and then leaning the weight forward onto the hands, again, shoulders above the wrists. You can take it to a little bit of a plank pose. So you can start with the knees down here if you wish to. If that feels okay, still tucking the tailbone underneath you, so strengthening into the glutes here, helping to align the whole body, the shoulders, the ears, shoulders, hips, and knees are all in one line. If you want a little bit more strength, you can lift up onto the toes, and then we're bringing the ears, shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles all in line. Keeping the strong tuck of the tailbone under. You can rest if you need to, come back to child's pose, or come back down onto the ground. You can choose that. If you like that challenge, maybe giving yourself 2 or 3, maybe 4 more breaths here. Maybe going a little bit deeper, a little bit stronger than you normally do in your day-to-day practice. Also respecting your limits. So when you feel ready to release it, you can choose to come back to a child's pose, hips coming back toward the heels, or you can choose to come to downward facing dog. Maybe tucking those toes under, pressing the heels back behind you, lifting through the tailbone and allowing the head and neck to soften and release here. So you might energize the fingertips into the ground, lengthen through the elbows, and rotate the inner elbow, or like the elbow pit. Rotating it toward the front of the mat can help engage the shoulders. You might take a couple more breaths here if you're in that child's pose, noticing if you can relax a little bit deeper. If you want to transition to the child's pose, you might give yourself a couple of breaths there. Good. Allow yourself, if you wish to take a rest. Maybe allowing yourself to sit back in that child's pose if you weren't there already. Taking a little bit of side body stretch here. Maybe walking both hands over to the right side. Finding a nice long stretch from the edge of the left pinky finger all the way down the arm and shoulder, all the way down the rib cage toward the hip. Here too, noticing where there may be tension in the face, the neck, anywhere that you can let go or soften a little bit. Maybe giving it another breath or two here on the first side. Taking one more breath in, and with the exhale, maybe walking yourself through center. Maybe with the next inhale, walking it over to the other side. So left side reach, right side stretch. So this time the right edge of the pinky finger all the way down the elbow, the shoulder, side ribs toward the hip. Getting a nice long stretch here. Moving breath through the body, nice and deep. Giving it another breath or so here, finding that nice stretch and release here. When you're ready, again finding an exhale, maybe coming back to center, maybe rising back up toward the downward facing dog if you wish to. You can stay in the table pose. Likewise, if that feels better for you, we're going to practice a little bit of leg lifting. So from table pose, it might look like leg coming up and back behind you. From downward facing dog, we're inviting a three-leg dog. So lifting maybe the right foot first, maybe pointing, flexing, and rolling the ankle. Good. Maybe pressing that back heel into the ground a little bit deeper. Maybe pressing the fingertips into the ground for support here. Good. If it feels good to you, maybe rising the toes a little bit higher. One more breath in. Good. Maybe drawing that right knee through the hands and setting up for a pigeon pose. So take it to this side so you can see it. Right knee comes through the hands here, left leg stays back behind, or you extend that leg behind. If this doesn't feel good for you or safe for you, feel free to roll onto the back at this point and draw the knee into the chest, kind of in a supine position. Same benefits of the pose. We're just using gravity a little bit differently from that upright kind of tall body posture. You can use this blanket or cushion underneath the hip here on the right side for a little bit of support. Noticing that we then bring the upper body into alignment. Fingertips or the hands might just support gently on the mat, but the shoulders are still down away from the ears. The shoulder blades are still flattening onto the back. If you want to take a little bit more rest in this shape, you might lower down for a few breaths, maybe sleep the pigeon or relax the upper body. If you want to stay upright, practicing that posture, this is a good time to do it. We'll take about 5 more breaths here in this shape, however you like or whatever you need. Always choosing to release also whenever you feel it's right for your body. Focusing that breath a little bit deeper inward. Wherever you're feeling stretch is getting nourished with that breath. If you are in that sleeping pigeon, maybe pressing yourself up on the next inhale here. Maybe removing any cushions or supports you have behind the hip. And when you're ready, either coming back toward table pose or that downward facing dog, however you choose. Maybe walking the feet out or pedaling in through the knees. Maybe if you're just in the table pose, you might sway the hips side to side. Taking whatever options you might need here. Just giving ourselves a little bit of healthy transition, working out the stretch. And we'll take this same little flow to the other side, so when you're ready, maybe that left toe sticks out behind or comes up toward the sky. Maybe you point, flex, and roll the ankle. Fingertips are still supporting in the downward facing dog. A few more breaths here if you choose. You can always come back down to the table pose if you need or wish to. Maybe one more breath in, one more lift of the toe. Coming to bring the knee through the hands again, this time for pigeon pose on the second side. Left knee coming through the hands, maybe that cushion comes in beneath the left hip this time. Good, right leg sends straight out behind you. Choosing to either find that posture, whether or not you're going to go forward into sleeping pigeon, I suggest starting with that nice tall spine. Aligning first, and then creating more depth. Again, if this doesn't work for you, maybe just on this side, or the first side was fine, this side doesn't work, feel free to roll over, draw the knee into the chest like we talked about. So choosing maybe to release the spine forward, the upper body down if that feels better to you here in this shape. Or to stay upright, really challenging alignment, flattening the shoulder blades onto the back. Maybe giving yourself a little bit of a gentle smile, the Buddha smile. Nice deep breath, hold through the whole shape. You can align that breath to be nourishment, support. Maybe that breath is calming any parts of the body that might feel stuck or tense. Maybe giving it another breath or two here as you choose. Maybe coming to rise up if you are in the sleeping pigeon. Maybe placing the hands firmly for support. Trying out any hip supports you might have, tucking the toe and then drawing it back again to either table pose, shift to the hips, or downward facing dog, maybe pedaling the feet or taking some movement here. From the shape, we'll work our way onto our feet. So if you are on table pose and you'd like to move through the downward facing dog, maybe taking little steps toward the hands, maybe hanging out in a forward fold when you arrive, feel free to do that. If you need a bigger, safer step, coming to ground the knees first. Bringing one foot forward at a time, hands bracing for support, stepping up safely. And then allowing ourselves to find whatever forward fold might work for you today. So we've got some options. Could be a halfway fold, hands supporting on the knees or shins, especially if there's high or low blood pressure, any sensitivity to inverting. Feel free to stay here. Ski pose is an option. Bent elbows onto the bent knees, head hanging gently. Or the full forward fold, releasing the upper body forward from the hips. Letting gravity draw the spine down, maybe the crown of the head comes toward the floor. Wherever you are, noticing a balance between effort and ease. So some of the body has to be strong to support us in this shape. And some of the body can soften and let go. It doesn't help necessarily to have the strength in the face or the jaw. Maybe the shoulders can be soft. Maybe you can relax the big toe. Taking a few more breaths in your shape, however you like it. Maybe one more full deep breath here. At the end of that last exhale, maybe coming to bend into the knees a little bit. Maybe coming to roll up gently, one vertebra at a time. So starting to tilt the tailbone under. Gently stack the lumbar spine. Start to stack the thoracic spine. Keeping the chin heavy so we start to stack the cervical spine. Rising up into standing. Finding the support of the feet. Our stance might be about hip width distance or a little bit closer. Big toes might come to touch. Choosing what feels comfortable and right for you just now. Engaging into our mountain pose, starting with the foundations of the feet. So we anchor 3 corners of each foot. The big toe, the base of the big toe, the base of the little toe, and the heel. We lift into the arches that connect all 3 of these points. We typically talk about or think about just the inner arch of the foot, but noticing that there's an arch across the base of the toes as well as on the outer edge of the foot too. Getting some of that lifting action, allowing the body to support itself from the feet as we are designed. From the roots that we're digging into the earth, we draw that energy back into ourselves, strengthening into the calf muscles, lifting the kneecaps slightly, and strengthening the upper legs, quadriceps and hamstrings. Maybe even more of the muscles in the outer leg or the inner leg if we can. Drawing the tailbone under, the glutes tucked and strong. Good. The navel coming in toward the spine, so we're pressing that low belly in, allowing the upper body to be full of breath. The ribs can expand freely. Heart space open. Shoulders back and down here. And lifting up through the crown of the head just a little bit higher. So we're rising from our roots, still using that grounded energy in the low body connected to the earth, and building our bodies as a bridge between earth and sky. As much as we are physical beings, we still draw breath into ourselves. We have water bodies, so we are also a mixture of the elements, that breath and that prana, the fire within us helping us to find our good work, our energy. All of this is here. If you'd like to, maybe adding the arms and the breath together, taking an inhale, sweeping the hands up high. Palms might come together at the top. You can lift the gaze, maybe take a little back bend there if you like. With the exhale, coming forward and down into any depth of fold. Again, you can stop halfway, bend the knees, or hinge forward. The next breath in, rising to that halfway lift if you're not there already. Lifting the tailbone a little bit higher, shoulders away from the ears, crown of head extending. Exhaling, lowering back down into any depth of fold. Deep breath in. This time we bend the knees, lift the heart first, inhaling all the way up to top. Taking a back bend at the top if you wish to. and exhaling, drawing the hands back into center. Good. So we'll take that same round of standing flow. A couple more times. Deep breath in and up, back bend option. Exhaling to come forward and down. Any depth. Inhaling to rise to that halfway lift here. Exhaling into fold. You choose. Inhaling to rise with the gaze first. Lifting up with the breath, back bend option, and exhaling, hands into center. One more time like that if you wish to. Deep breath in, sweeping the hands high. Back bend option, exhaling, coming forward and down. Inhaling to rise, the halfway lift. Exhaling to forward fold. Inhaling to bend the knees with the gaze, sweep it high. Back bend option. Exhaling, hands coming into heart center. Good. Adding a little bit deeper movement. Fuller flow. Rising with the breath as we start. Back bend option. Exhaling to come forward and down into your fold. Inhaling to rise to halfway lift here. Flat back, shoulders away from ears. Exhaling, hands to ground, this time stepping the right foot back, maybe coming into a lunge shape if you wish to. Knee can stay up off the ground or it can lower here. You choose. Good. We'll take a little bit of breath into this shape, pausing for 3 to 5 breaths depending on your kind of speed and your depth. The end of your last breath, maybe tucking the toe if it's not already. Stepping that left foot back to the right, coming toward a plank pose. With an exhale, lowering down toward the ground, you can drop those knees first if you wish to, keeping the elbows in by the sides of the body for support. Good. Drawing ourselves up into low cobra pose or high cobra pose if you wish to. Exhaling to release that chest back down. Strong push-up through the fingertips. Plank pose. Exhaling, pressing it back into downward facing dog here. Inhaling to rise those right toes for 3-leg dog. This time step or walk the right foot through the hands. You can ground that left knee first to help make that big step. Again, we'll take a few breaths here in our lunge. Checking the alignment, ankle and knee are directly in line, stacked up. Good. Nice deep breaths here. Maybe one more full breath if you wish to. Thinking about the transition, starting to tuck the left toe perhaps. With the next in-breath, starting to step forward, left foot meets right. Rising to halfway lift with the inhale. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling to rise all the way up to standing here. Back bend option again. Exhaling, hands in the heart center. Good. Same to the other side. Deep breath when you're ready. Sweeping hands high. Lifting through that heart with the inhale. Back bend option. Exhaling to come forward and down. Inhaling to rise to halfway lift. Flat back, shoulders down. Exhaling, hands to ground. Left foot steps back, this time finding the lunge. Knee can stay up, or knee can come to ground. Trying to find whatever option you may have taken the first time here. Taking some breath through the shape, checking the knee and ankle are in line. Noticing for yourself the safety of the depth. If you need a little bit less, backing out 5 or 10%. No need to overwhelm the body or force it to do anything. Truly, if we give it time and space to grow gently, we will get further much faster. Maybe one more breath here. We're starting to tuck the left toes behind us, taking the right foot back. With the inhale, coming toward plank pose. Knees up or knees down, you choose. You can touch those knees down with the exhale. Elbows stand by the sides of the body, lowering toward the floor. Inhaling to rise, could be low cobra or high cobra, you choose. Releasing the chest with the exhale. Strengthen to the fingertips, pressing up. Push up for plank. Good. Exhaling, pressing back, downward facing dog. Inhaling to rise the left toes this time for three-leg dog. Exhaling, step or walk that left foot through. You can ground the right knee first there to make that big step. Settling in again for a few breaths, 3 to 5 breaths in our lunge shape. Maybe focusing on the alignment of the spine. Again, rising out of the crown of the head. Sinking the gravity into the shape, maybe finding that stretch here, but checking if it's too much. We can back out a little bit, protect ourselves, motivate to get a little bit deeper, a little bit faster by going slow. Good, another breath or so here. Maybe getting ready for that big step. Maybe starting to tuck the right toes with the inhale. Right foot comes to meet the left here. Inhaling to the halfway lift. And exhaling into forward fold. And inhaling to rise up to standing. Back bend option. And exhaling, hands coming into heart center. Good, inviting a little bit of a chair pose here. Sending the hips back and down. Gripping into the strength in the glutes here. The base of the body starting to get a lot more strong, and the weight's back in the heels. So if you notice, my knees are behind the toes. If your knees are way out in front, you want to shift that weight back. You might have to stand up a little bit more to get that action, and that's okay. Once you get the alignment, then you can work on sinking the depth over time. Maybe pressing those hands together at heart center. Lifting through the crown of the head. Good, keeping the upper body nice and strong. One more breath in. If you want to sink it a little bit deeper on that last exhale, feel free. With the next inhale, rising up through standing. And exhaling, releasing those hands. Good. Go ahead and take a moment to maybe step the feet out. You can shake the body or bounce a little bit. Release any of those kind of stress points or strengthening kind of bits. We're going to go ahead and practice into a little bit of balance before we bring it back down. So as promised, moving through eagle pose today. If this is one that you'd like to move toward a wall or some furniture for support, so you can reach the hand out if you need to, feel free to do that. We're going to combine kind of the arm shape that we had before today. If you want to go ahead and cross the arms at the elbows and wrap the arms up, feel free to do that. I'm not going to go so deep today, just in protection of my own shoulder and to provide a little variation. But if you can, start to glue those palms, wrists, and forearms together at the elbows. Good. We're going to combine this with our chair pose. So anytime you're ready, coming to sit those hips back, weight into the heels. So this might be the place that you want to practice. Good. If you want to draw those feet together, those big toes to touch, you might try that here. The narrower the feet get, the more the balance gets challenged. If that feels okay to you, maybe shifting the weight into the right foot, starting to lift out of the left leg. You might just keep the toes grounded here on the left side. That might be enough practice for you. Or if it feels okay to cross the left knee over the right, that might be a place you choose to go. If you want to wrap the left toes behind the right ankle, that's one more layer. Let's see if I can, there you go, see that? Forearms stayed glued. You can pick a spot on the wall or on the floor in front of you that's not moving to help you fix your gaze. If you want to practice that lift of the elbows and the lowering, you might bring that in here. That's one more layer than I need right now, so I'm going to keep with the balance. Whoop. If you fall out, no big deal. Feel free to come back to the safe depth. And then when you're ready, finding an in-breath to rise back up. And exhale. Set it back down. Let's go ahead and get that shake and bounce on. Release the one side. Release our attachments to whatever did or did not happen. Nobody is any better or any worse for whatever their shape might have looked like. We do get benefits by respecting our limitations and going slow. So if you did that, feel free to give yourself a little gold star. We'll go ahead and start here. Arms in the same position. If this doesn't feel good to you, you want to just kind of take it down one notch, feel free to just cross the arms over the chest, hands to the shoulders as well. So we'll start by gluing those forearms together, taking our seat back into our chair, maybe adjusting the stance so the toes come together or the feet get more narrow. If you need more balance support, you might just take the feet a little bit wider. And then choosing here, do you want to practice into that eagle pose, starting to lift the weight into the left leg and off the right foot, maybe just the toes ground first. Maybe you get that right knee crossed over the left. Maybe you wrap those right toes around behind the left ankle. Challenge is to keep the upper body supported through the spine. Forearms and palms together. If you want that lift and lower action here, you can find that. Nice deep breaths. Fixing the gaze. Maybe one more inhale and full exhale. When you're ready to release the shape, unwinding, rising up and out of it, and exhale, letting it go. Very nice. Go ahead and shake it, bounce it. If you want to, you might even give yourself a little bit of side-to-side sway. Maybe those arms could just gently swing in a little bit of a twist. Very good. If you have anything else that you need here, maybe a little bit more movement, shoulder rolls or arm swings, feel free to really get out any additional energy. This is the way we are kind to ourselves. This is self-care, even if it looks a little bit funny or goofy or silly. This is self-care. Good. We can add that shake, that bounce into the low body, the knees, the ankles. Start to slow that movement down, and we'll come toward the floor. So if you have kind of that safe approach in mind, maybe stepping one foot back at a time, coming down to the knee first, and then to floor. If you like to come down through a forward fold, maybe moving back through downward dog, you might take a little bit more time into stretch with your kind of journey back down to the floor. Inviting you to come to the seat here and drawing the bottoms of feet together for a bound ankle pose or cobbler's pose. Hands can come to the ankles or the arches. Starting by lifting up through the crown of the head. Noticing that the sit bones are down below us, beneath us. Maybe finding where we sit on those sit bones, the back of the pelvis. Maybe allowing ourselves to send the knees down, down toward the ground a little bit with the strength of the body, or even a little gentle elbow pressure if that feels right for you. But not compromising the breath, not compromising the length in the upper spine. Good. Tuning into the breath here. Just giving ourselves a place to start to get grounded again. Another breath or two for this shape if you wish. On an inhale, maybe allowing yourself to release the shape. Maybe those knees come up, hands come behind. And you might just gently tilt those knees side to side like windshield wipers here. Good. When you feel satisfied with that part of the practice, we'll go ahead and move it down toward the ground. So finding the center of the mat with the hips. Maybe allow yourself a little core strength move. Hands can be on the backs of the knees here or straight out in front for a little bit more challenge. And then the chin stays glued to the chest as we lower down slowly, one vertebra at a time. If you notice a steep drop, that's okay. Just we'll work on smoothing it out over time, adding that core strength. Good. Coming to release the upper back, the neck, the back of the head. Maybe drawing the knees into the chest here for a nice hug when we arrive on the back. Maybe rocking side to side if you wish to. Good. Giving some time to take it into reclined twist from here if you would like. You might take the arms out in a T or like airplane wings. Maybe coming to choose to roll both knees over to one side if that feels good to you. If you need a little bit of something else, you can always maybe just lengthen the left leg and cross the body with the right knee to start. It could be a big rotation where the hips come to stack vertically, or a very small rotation where both hips stay grounded and you just gently draw the knee across the body. So lots of different options here, choosing what twist works for you right now. Maybe opting to take the gaze over the hand that's behind you, giving that twist into the rest of the upper back and the neck as well. As you are here, allowing yourself to move the breath through the body, noticing if there are any tense muscles or tense places that you can start to let go of, reminding yourself you are supported. The earth is holding you. There's nothing to fear in this moment. Coming back to the breath. If the mind starts to wander, again starting to slow everything down, come into your mindful, peaceful place. Ready to change sides, you can gently draw the knee or the knees back into center. Maybe again take a little roll across the back. And then setting up for the same on the second side, whatever options you took, be it both knees crossing over, maybe this time extending the right leg and crossing with the left leg. Whatever feels good to you here. Trying to make it match the first side if at all possible. Here too, maybe the gaze comes out over the hand and back, helping to complete the twist, allowing ourselves to settle into the shape as we breathe. Starting to release or relax any tension that we notice in our own skin. Giving softness back to this body. Again, trusting the support of the earth, that the universe is supporting our intentions, our work, our passions in the world. Allowing yourself to whatever extent possible to feel safe, to feel comfort, knowing that you are held. Adding a few more breaths here on this side as well. to rotate back to center, doing so with intention and care. Moving slowly to unwind yourself. And again, maybe just gently take the knees side to side. Inviting any other stretches, shapes, or movements that you might need here at this time to feel complete in your practice. Or if it's okay and safe for you, maybe relaxing the body down for a few minutes. Legs coming long, arms gently resting by the sides of the body. Maybe noticing if the spine is long, if you need to gently pick up the head, tuck the chin toward the chest, and release it back down to keep the neck very long and open. You can cover with a blanket here if that feels good to you. For the next 2 minutes or so, inviting the space for total softness. Staying as still as possible so that the body can absorb the benefits of this practice. Integrating all of the positive intention you have been moving through you with your breath. Noticing if anything else needs to be grounded or comforted. Again, noticing that space of safety and trust. You are well here. You are where you need to be. You have what you need. You are on your journey. You are loved. You are cared for. You belong in your family, your friendships, your community, and in the web of life. Allowing yourself to take another few breaths into that energy, that intention of simply being. Releasing doing, releasing thought, releasing action. Allowing yourself to be here. And breathe. Flowing your life. Allowing yourself to start to guide the breath deeper through the body. Bringing attention back to your breath, your physical self, the space around you. Maybe starting to add movement if you wish to, wiggling fingers and toes, or alternatively, if you like this calm, still place, feel free to stay here for 10 or 20 more minutes. It could be a nice gift to yourself. If you like to close here, I encourage you maybe to spend another 5, 10, or 20 minutes in this grounded place, coming back just into care of yourself. If you'd like to close in a seated place, you might start to add bigger movements, stretches, maybe a hug of the knees back into the chest. A loving embrace for yourself, reminding of your own self-love, that this comes first. Maybe allowing yourself to roll to one side and press back up to a seat. Maybe coming to draw the hands back into the heart space, the Namaste Mudra. Maybe pressing the base of the thumbs into the heart bone and helping the shoulders to roll back and down once again. Maybe bringing to mind your intention for this practice or any new intention that you have now. We'll give vibration and voice to these intentions, chanting a 3 Om or 3 hum to close and seal this practice, starting with a deep breath. Honoring the light, the love, and the divine in each of you. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Namaste. Thank you for joining in. Feel free to reach in, call out if you have any questions or comments. Welcome the feedback. And thank you so much for joining. We'll see you again soon.